7 days on from a memorable weekend in Mandalika, Motegi has travelled nearly 6,000 kilometres to Japan as the title chase hots up in Honda's backyard at the Mobility Resort Motegi, set in a sprawling mountainous region close to the cities of Mito and Utsunomiya, who will dazzle in the land of the rising sun. It's time to race in MotoGP. So the Mobility Resort Motegi, first on the Grand Prix calendar 25 years ago now, back in 1999. 4.8 kilometres in length, 2.983 miles. 14 corners, 8 right, 6 of them left. It's a very challenging technical layout. Demanding for the front tyre with all the heavy braking zones, demanding for the rear tyre as well with so many low gear acceleration points. 762 metres is your start-finish straight, down into the first corner, then into turn 3, turn 6, one of the fastest corners on the circuit, 4th gear, 200 kilometres an hour, turn 7, where Pedro Acosta crashed out of the lead in the 12-lap sprint yesterday. It's turns 1, 5 and 11, which are the most demanding for the brakes, and it is turn 11 as you drop down into the second gear at 90 kilometres an hour, 90-degree corner. You do really punish that front tyre. With all the heavy braking zones, it does mean there's plenty of overtaking hotspots around this 4.8 kilometre layout. This was Jack Miller on the inside of both Jorge Martin and Pecco Bagnaia last year in 211. Coming up next then in MotoGP, Enea Bastianini looks to continue Ducati's record-breaking winning streak. He goes from row 2. Pole hero Pedro Acosta goes in search of KTM's first win in 2 years. On the back foot after a Q2 crash, can Jorge Martin move forward into podium contention from row 4? And after a 6th sprint win of the season, Pecco Bagnaia eyes Sunday success from second. So starting from his first ever Premier Class pole position when Pedro Acosta crowned Rookie of the Year in 2024 yesterday, as the riders jostle for position in the 12-lap sprint. It did not take long for the KTM RC16 star to hit the front. Unfortunately though, on lap 9, he hit the deck, crashing out of the lead, which meant it was a fight between the Ducati stars. Pecco Bagnaia eventually taking the checkered flag first, his 6th sprint win of the season from second on the grid, and it is tightening up in our title chase with Jorge Martin fighting his way through from 11th to 4th. Just 15 points now split the top 2 riders in the World Championship. It's a rematch, a battle once again like it was in 2023, this time in 2024 between Bagnaia and Martin. It's all eyes on the skies as we begin our live coverage of this 16th round of the 2024 MotoGP World Championship here at the Mobility Resort Motegi, the Motul Grand Prix of Japan. No spoilers here, no results given away, but we have just seen a rain-disrupted Moto2 race. As you can see though from these live pictures, as the Japanese fans get set for the 24-lap Grand Prix of Japan here in Motegi, it is dry. No more rain is falling. If that stays the same, we will have a full dry battle here, as the battle really does heat up between Pecco Bagnaia, your reigning world champion, who goes from his 10th front row start in the last 12 Grand Prix in what, about 35 minutes time. We are just running slightly behind schedule after there was a rain intervention in the earlier Moto2 action. It will be lights out as always though at just after 2 p.m. local time here in the Motegi Mountains. Matt Burton, Lewis Sotheby in the commentary box with Simon Crafar down in pit lane. Bagnaia capitalising on the big blunder by Pedro Acosta in the sprint yesterday, Lewis. This is game on, 15 points now, the gap down to in the World Championship. Pecco Bagnaia has been here before, he's done it, he's got the T-shirt, he's got the World Championship trophies, he knows how to handle the pressure. Is he the favourite though going into this afternoon's race, because Pedro Acosta has been hot all weekend?
If he is favourite, he's only a very short favourite from Pedro Acosta. It feels as if we're set for a showdown between the reigning world champion and the boy who wishes to become one of the many great riders to take a MotoGP victory. Pedro Acosta will go from pole position. They'll be joined on the front row of the grid this afternoon by Maverick Vinales, who unfortunately pulled reverse gear at the start of the race yesterday. Struggled to get his front ride height device disengaged after the start, which is why he saw himself plummet out of the order. That's Frankie Morbidelli going past. We've already seen Brad Binder go through. There's Jorge Martin on our right-hand side as well. Not the start that Maverick Vinales wanted to have yesterday, and it cost him any hopes of a sprint podium and almost relegated him out of the points altogether. Vinales managed to salvage 1 World Championship point for 9th place, so he's looking to try and right those particular wrongs today. And as mentioned, he ain't the only rider looking to try and right the wrongs here this afternoon. Pedro Acosta looking to do the same from pole position. Of course, we'll never know whether Pecco Bagnaia could or would have beaten him yesterday in the sprint. Will we get some answers this afternoon? Will we get a straight showdown between Acosta and Bagnaia that we are hoping for?
This was when the sprint was going swimmingly for the Shark yesterday. What a move this was by Acosta on the inside of Pecco Bagnaia on the brakes into turn 5. He had just started to streak away. His gap over a second clear of the reigning world champion. A whole bunch of Ducati superstars trailing in Acosta's wake until disaster struck. The moment where he lost the front going into turn 7, just knocked it back to 3rd gear, 115 kilometers an hour. And look at that, he realized that he had dropped a clanger, hadn't even come to a rest as he skidded through the gravel on his back, head in hands. Acosta though, let's look at the positives on a Super Saturday. First KTM pole position since Miguel Oliveira at Portimao back in 2020. Could he be the second youngest rider in Premier Class history to win on a Sunday? Well, he's trying to be the second youngest rider behind this man, Marc Marquez, who once again demonstrated unbelievable powers of recovery. 9th to 3rd in the sprint for the 93 after a great late battle with Enea Bastianini. Jorge Martin needs a few powers of recovery himself, Lewis. 15 points clear the championship. The pressure is building, a lot resting on the shoulders of the Prima Pramac Racing star. He goes from the 4th row of the grid after a big mistake in that Q2 yesterday morning. Yeah,
yesterday saw rain falling on and off throughout the day, really, and Jorge Martin felt that his confidence really dropped when the rain started to fall. Martin with that crash in qualifying too, but boy did he do his best to make up for that particular slip up when the sprint got underway. Just watch this start that Martin got before he even breaks for the first corner. He's already gained minimum 3 places. You can see one of the VR46 Ducatis on his left, Maverick Vinales, who we've already seen the replay of how his start went so badly wrong. Martin was already up into the top 5 by the end of the first lap. That became 4th when Pedro Acosta crashed out later on, and it was a good damage limitation exercise as he shares a moment there with David Alonso. We don't aim to give you spoilers, but I think you can pretty much figure out for yourselves what has gone on there.
Yeah, David Alonso is not celebrating a 27th place, is he? With Jorge Martin. Great scenes then as the Martinator comes to the Prima Pramac Ducati garage. Yeah, Gino Borsoy, Prima Pramac Ducati boss. David Alonso has had a very busy post-Moto3 race here today. That's one of several hugs and congratulations I'm sure he has had down in pit lane. What a shot that is. Are there potentially two world champions in that picture there? Well, we'll find out over the course of the next few weeks. Marc Marquez, how does he keep doing it? Yet another brilliant charge through the field. Big smile on his face, not just because he got an 8th sprint medal yesterday, but I think he really enjoyed and really relished that late fight he had with Enea Bastianini. 10th time in 16 Grand Prix that the 93 is starting from the 3rd row or lower. He does love to give himself a bit of hard work on a Sundays. Of course, he was on course, but he did set a brilliant 142.8 in Q2 yesterday morning before that was scrubbed off for exceeding track limits. Can't keep a good man down though, can you, for too long? Sandwiched in between Motegi and Martin on the charge down to the first corner, on the inside of both of the VR46 racing Ducatis, and then it just kept getting better and better and better for the 8-time world champion.
I'm sure he'd rather not have to keep coming through from rows 3 and 4 to take podiums and victories, but boy has he displayed his fighting spirit over the course of this season from some very difficult Fridays and Saturday mornings. And this was the battle with Enea Bastianini as they left each other just about enough space coming through turn number 10. Bastianini, spoke to him yesterday and he really explained beautifully the battle he had here into turn 11 with Marc Marquez. He said he saw Marc had let the brake off a little bit, so he let the brake off a little bit himself just to give himself that little bit of high ground over Marc Marquez. Bastianini had the inside line. Marc Marquez just could not tip his Gresini Ducati in from there, and Enea Bastianini was rewarded with 2nd place. Over double the distance, can Bastianini go one better today?
Yeah, after their double podium yesterday, you get the feeling that was going to hurt even more their Mandalika exits last time out, wasn't it? For Bastianini and Marquez, the beast 72 points behind Martin, Marquez 77 points behind, and they're just running out of time, aren't they? I think both themselves resigned to their fate. They will not be 2024 MotoGP World Champion. It looks like we have a 2-horse race, the same 2 riders that fought for glory 1 year ago. Jack Miller then took the checker flag in the sprint yesterday in 8th place. He was the best of the non-Ducatis as Ducati made it a magnificent 7. And these are the pictures that have been dominating social media and the websites throughout the weekend as the aero advances in MotoGP. It's like when you watch a plane taking off. And you see all the air rushing over the wings. And this was Jack Miller yesterday on a RC16 pogo stick. Throughout this season, with the new generation grippier new Michelin rear tyre, all riders at the start of the season complained of vibration and chatter. Most manufacturers have been able to iron out those woes, but as you can see there, it's been a hangover, a pain in the backside, quite literally, for Jack Miller. And we're up now round 16. Just look how that rear tyre was pumping and bouncing around underneath him, the swing arm flexing as well. A clear indication of the kind of issues that Jack Miller has carried through from Qatar to the present day.
He deserves a lot of credit though for the way that he turned his Saturday around, having been eliminated in qualifying 1. Of course, narrowly missed out on Friday of a place in qualifying 2, but came through from deep on the 5th row of the grid. 14th he started to come through to finish 8th. He was the best non-Ducati yesterday, an all Ducati top 7, although Jack Miller's performance just further underlines just how big a threat the KTMs look set to be this afternoon. Of course, with Pedro Acosta on pole position and Brad Binder going from row 2, looking to try and rebound after some electronic problems ruled him out of a potential battle for the sprint podium yesterday. KTM surely with their best chance all season of fighting for victory today.
Yeah, Shark Attack Part 2 incoming for Pedro Acosta. I just wonder if he does win this Grand Prix, whether he'll stop and settle scores with turn 7 after his mishap yesterday. KTM winless in 2 long years. That was Miguel Oliveira's wet weather victory at the Tyre Grand Prix in Buriram. You've got to go back even further for their last dry Grand Prix success. That was in Barcelona back at the midway stage of 2021. A season of victory that is long overdue. As there is Taka Nakagami in the middle of your picture, a special day, a special moment. A race that's going to be full of emotions for the Idemitsu LCR Honda rider, as in front of his fan club, who are packed into the grandstands on the braking zone into the first corner. Watch Taki Nakagami come to the grid for his farewell, is an emotional farewell to MotoGP full-time. I've got a sneaky feeling that this is not the last time we'll see Taka racing in front of his home crowd. He moves on, though, of course, to a new role, leading the test and development of Honda's RC213V next year, alongside Aleix Espargaro. And some big news breaking this weekend, of course, and news that Romano Albiciano, the long-serving tech guru at Aprilia, well, he has been headhunted and poached over to lead HRC next season. That was interesting and breaking news. Silly season clicking into overdrive for crew chiefs and engineers behind the scenes, as we can hear the riders coming to the grid at the slowest possible speed. We mentioned how this circuit is dominated by its stop and go layouts. Of course, that means on-off throttle constantly, which does mean that this Motegi layout, 4.8 kilometers, it is very fuel thirsty. So they'll be coming to the grid at the slowest possible speed. The fuel-saving maps will be on. Let's just hope Aprilia and Aleix Espargaro disengage their fuel-saving map after their nightmare of 2022.
Well, Pecco Bagnaia didn't have his on the sighting like yesterday before the sprint, clearly looking to try and understand what kind of grip he had underneath him at racing speeds, because of course we had spots of rain falling before the sprint got underway yesterday. Cut it fine because he ran out of fuel around about 10 corners after the sprint actually finished. He was still in a little bit of fuel saving mode in the early stages of yesterday's sprint. Certainly not taking that approach today as Bagnaia cruises round to the grid and to take his place in the middle of that front row.
Well, it was a case of so near yet so far. What might have been yesterday for Red Bull Gas Tech 3 after Pedro Acosta's sensational maiden pole position. He was so close, wasn't he, to taking the victory in the 12-lap sprint. He'll certainly be in the hunt again here this afternoon over the full race distance of 24 laps. Let's get the thoughts of his boss, Nico Goyon, who joined Simon.
He does. Nico, wonderful display of speed and control until that little mistake yesterday that cost so much. I really would like your thoughts going into today's longer one.
Yeah, as you said, it was super nice until this moment, this crucial moment. I think he just wanted to win, and he pushed the maximum. He tried to break the gap with Pecco, but Pecco is world champion, and I want to say this is part of the learning process. He shows us he has the speed. Today we're going to see another race. We have a different tire on rear. We are in a better working range, so let's see what he's able to do.
Very best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Simon. Thanks to Nico Goyon. Here's today the day then where the rookie wraps up his first MotoGP success. He was absolutely kicking himself last night. He came to speak to the media. He didn't sugarcoat it. He took it on the chin and said it was totally my fault, a stupid mistake. His word, not mine. I would never call a double world champion and a star of the future stupid. But Pedro Acosta, he'll be back, and he will be on a revenge mission here today. In Mandalika, he was the only rider that took the fight to the army of superfast Ducatis yesterday and all weekend here in Japan. He has been the standout opposition for all those Ducatis. You do know that Acosta's going to be firmly in the hunt for that first win. So will be, though, the Ducati Lenovo team. Pecco Bagnaia and Enea Bastianini first and second in yesterday's sprint. Are they worried about the threat posed by Acosta? Well, we can find out because Davide Tardozzi joins Simon.
Davide, it feels like today is going to be a really hard-fought one, difficult to predict. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, there are at least 5, maybe 6 riders that will fight for the podium. It will be a very difficult race, even because this racetrack is really demanding on fuel consumption. So we'll see who will be able to use all the power or race or not. So this could be an issue for somebody or for somebody else not. So this, I think that everybody will use the rear medium, the rear tire medium. So I think that it will be a matter of taking some risk to be brave in the beginning of the race and manage the bike till the end.
Thank you, Davide.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks Simon, thanks to Davide Tardozzi, boss of the factory Ducati team. Yeah, two key elements you feel to this upcoming Grand Prix of Japan: tyre consumption and fuel consumption. That is going to be critical. I think the two Repsol Hondas and Fabio Di Gianantonio, so Joan Mir and Luca Marini, taking a bit of a punt on the soft rear tyre. Looked like everybody else was going as we expected to. The majority picked the hard front for the braking stability, which is so needed here in Motegi, this stop and go layout, and then the medium rear, which a lot of riders had a good look at in this morning's warm-up session. I think it was only Remy Gardner, wasn't it, that didn't run the medium across that 10-minute warm-up. Not a lot of laps have been completed on the medium rear tyre, so this could be quite an intriguing battle. Who's going to be the smoothest with the right hand throughout this 24 laps?
I think Vinales is one rider who might feel he's in a bit of a good position this afternoon, given his tyre choice. Well, it's a final home Grand Prix, at least as a regular on the MotoGP grid for Taka Nakagami. Let's get his thoughts on the grid now with Simon.
Taka, I had to come see you, your final home GP. I admire all your efforts the last years, especially in the tough times, never giving up. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be really emotional for me. You know, this is gonna be the last one, last home GP as a full-time rider. But yeah, I try to give my best, of course. Front of Japanese fan, all the sponsor, Idemitsu, Honda, my personal sponsors. So yeah, I will give my best, and I want to enjoy.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks to Taka Nakagami. We wish him all the very best in his home Grand Prix. I guess he'll be looking this afternoon to steer clear of his teammate, Joan Zarco, who he was involved in a collision with yesterday. A collision which Joan Zarco took full responsibility and blame for, and the Japan MotoGP stewards saw the incident in exactly the same way. Nakagami on the outside line coming through turns 1 and 2, and as Zarco went for the inside, the two came together. Nakagami was not at all happy, it has to be said, at the end of that. Said he was disappointed with the move, a move he felt was unnecessary. But I would assume that everything has been patched up down in the Lucio Cecchinello camp. Here is Taka. Grand Prix start number 258 this afternoon. And we do expect in the future to see a wildcard appearance or two at the Mobility Resort Motegi for the home favourite. He has made it clear when the news broke that he was going to be changing roles for next season that wildcards would likely come with it. So a farewell of sorts for Taka Nakagami this afternoon. What's going through the mind there of Pedro Acosta? Is that crash from yesterday still playing through his mind? Remember a week ago, it was Jorge Martin who crashed out of the lead in a sprint that many of us expected him to win, and he said that the ghosts were in his head for the entire race once he'd passed the half-race distance, the point at which he crashed in Indonesia last year. Martin was thinking of turn 11 for the entire race, and he said he was thinking of that turn 16 for the entirety of the Indonesian Grand Prix. But he banished those demons to turn sprint disappointment into race victory. Can Pedro Acosta now do the same?
Luca Marini, 13th at the end of the Tissot sprint yesterday. The 27-year-old Italian, a former Moto2 winner here in Motegi. Back in 2019, 5 years ago, he won that Moto2 battle from pole position. Of course, he was absent from the action here in Motegi 12 months ago after picking up a shoulder injury after his first corner collision with his then teammate Marco Bezzecchi in the Indian Grand Prix sprint. Keeping himself in the zone, blocking out the noise. Just making sure that there'll be no mistakes like yesterday's sprint, as KTM's new king in waiting looks to see if he can put the PM Mobility Group back on the top step of the podium. Maverick Vinales picked up the last point available in yesterday's sprint after he didn't get his front whole shot device disengaged on the brakes into that first corner. He does, though, start from the front row of the grid. What are the Aprilia riders' chances in this 24-lap battle? Let's get the thoughts of Paolo Bonora, who's with Simon.
Paolo on the front row again today with Maverick. Yesterday didn't go to plan, obviously. Is there any chance of it going better today?
Yeah, yesterday probably we missed a big opportunity. he did not do a good start. So after many laps, he was not able to overtake somebody. The race pace was good, but he struggled to overtake the others. And unfortunately for the crash of Aleix. Today, we expect with the medium tire on the rear to be more constant for sure. Will be a different race management, and we hope for the weather forecast to keep this situation.
Paolo, I'm going to steal a little bit more of your time. Davide Tardozzi mentioned about the fuel economy problems here, like for some manufacturers. Can you, I mean, you know all about this. Can you give us an idea what's happening?
Yeah, this is one of the most fuel demanding track in the championship. So in the race management, as I said before, this is a key point. So it's necessary to adjust the mapping by the rider depending on the race situation. So if he's in the slipstream, he could manage with less fuel consumption, but when he has to attack, it's necessary to have a reserve of fuel for the last part of the race.
Thank you for your time. Good luck.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, tyre saving and fuel saving, that's going to be the mantra, isn't it, in this Grand Prix of Japan, as Jorge Martin then comes to the grid. It was a stunner in the Motegi Mountains for the Martinator last year, having taken pole position. He then won the sprint and then splashed his way to success in torrential rain. I've got neck aches. I keep looking out my commentary box window, looking skywards, just to make sure that we are not going to get any additional rain. Of course, if you joined us for our coverage, which I'm sure you did do and hope you did do for the Moto2 race, there was a red flag interruption as rain fell heavily as the riders went through the first couple of sectors on the opening lap. It has quickly dried up though here, as Jorge Martin will certainly be hoping that there aren't any rain spots, because of course fresh in his mind will be his mistake pitting too early when the rain fell in the San Marino Grand Prix, and he came in at the wrong time in that flag-to-flag scenario.
Yeah, don't be too misled by that stat you saw on your screen of his average start gaining less than a place. He generally doesn't have any to gain, does he? He's often on pole position, as you saw there. Perhaps the more important stat was that his best start so far this year came yesterday in the Tissot sprint, when he came all the way through from 11th and was up inside the top 5 at the end of the first lap. His lowest grid position in over a year. What a time for that to come for Jorge Martin, but he'll be looking at yesterday and drawing upon what happened in the sprint to inspire him today.
Yeah, unfamiliar territory, isn't it, for Martin to find himself that far down on the grid. Credit to him. You have to say he did a fantastic job rescuing a 4th place at the end of that sprint yesterday. A 4th place which he probably didn't expect as he saw Acosta charging off into the horizon. But you have to finish first, you have to finish, don't you, as the old cliche. Now then, KTM. Brad Binder denied the chance to fight for the podium in the sprint. He has been a podium finisher in the Japanese Grand Prix previously for the Mattinghofen brand. A good ride as well into points yesterday for Jack Miller. How the KTM team thinking ahead of this Grand Prix? Let's get Francesco Guidotti.
Yes, couple of things to ask you, and that's Jack. Good ride yesterday, first non-Ducati from my memory, and Brad in a great position until some technical problem. What do you feel today on the medium rear tyre, if that's what you're going to choose?
I feel good. Personally, I feel good. We should ask the rider. But no, joking apart, I think can be a good day also today. Yesterday wasn't great because of the technical issue, but overall was a good day. The feeling was good, and he was pushing with a lot of confidence. So let's try again. Just medium rear tire, but it's 24 laps, so a little bit of management of tires and energy, but we can enjoy.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Simon. Thanks to Francesco Guidotti. We'll take a break very, very shortly for our traditional pre-race grid ceremony as the Japanese fans get on their feet for the Japanese national anthem, which is coming up very, very shortly. A special day for the home crowd hero Taka Nakagami as we take a pause for the national anthem of Japan.
君が代は千代にや千代にさざれ石の岩をとなりて苔のむすまで
A beautiful rendition there of the Japanese national anthem. You could see there Taka Nakagami, as we said, a special farewell appearance in front of his home crowd coming up. Marc Marquez then, as he so often has done in 2024, a brilliant fight back from the third row to podium in the sprint. Can he do the same again here in the Japanese Grand Prix? 3 times here in Motegi's been crowned MotoGP World Champion. Let's get the thoughts of Gresini Racing boss Michele Massini, who's with Simon.
Yeah, he is. First of all, Michele, great comeback, as usual, from Marc yesterday. I really would like to get your thoughts about both your riders, also Marc's brother, Alex, getting his confidence back after Indonesia. What do you think?
Yeah, sure, it's like this. I think that the confidence are back. They are quite faster with the medium, so the feeling also today during the warm-up was good. But we see what happened in front today, and we hope to recover some positions.
Good luck doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much to Michele Massini. Thanks, Simon. Yesterday we saw both Gresini Racing bikes in the points in the sprint as Alex Marquez came home in 7th place, just 4 tenths ahead of his former great Moto3 foe, Jack Miller. So Marc Marquez almost accustomed to success here in the past, wasn't he, in Motegi? He took his last Honda podium here 1 year ago in that flag-to-flag battle. He was crowned MotoGP World Champion right here in front of the Japanese fans in 2014, 2016 and in 2018. Only twice in his previous 9 MotoGP starts here in Motegi has he missed the podium. 4th all the way back in 2015, 4th in 2022. Generally, when we go Grand Prix racing in Japan, Marc Marquez figures at the front of the battle.
Well, the first couple of laps are going to be so important for him if he is going to figure in the battle for the podium. So often we've seen him come charging through the field, and he's done a lot of his hard work on the first lap or so. So Marc Marquez knows he's going to have to get his skates on early. Well, we've already seen initial information from Michelin. Let's get a full story on the tyre choice ahead of this race. Piero Taramasso's with Simon.
He is. Piero, can you give us a quick rundown on what you believe everyone's choice will be and how well you have to manage tyres today?
Yes, the track looks dry, so the main choices are the front, medium on the rear. We may see 2 or 3 bikes with the soft on the rear, but the soft, is dropping, and you will have to manage at least the last 6 or 7 laps. With the medium, I think you can push all the way through the race.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Thanks to Michelin Motorsport manager Piero Taramasso. As we expected, the preferred pick, the majority pick, is the medium rear tyre. It does feel like this will be a time management race. Are we going to see a rather stable pace in the first 3 quarters before it really does liven up in the sort of last 5, 6 or 7 laps?
Well, it's no in any doubt who that particular gentleman is here to see. They do bring plenty of colour, don't they, to the Japanese Grand Prix, and they'll be certainly throwing all their support behind Taka Nakagami, who we understand is keeping his emotions just about under control on the grid. You can totally understand how he may be a little bit overcome given the career he's had, this is going to be his final home Grand Prix, at least as a regular on the MotoGP grid. He has brought so much to MotoGP, he has brought so much to Honda. Of course, he's going to be spending so much of his time here in Japan. Our information there, as you can see, top left of your screens, apparently there is some light rain falling somewhere around this mobility resort Motegi circuit. Certainly none out of our commentary box window at the moment, but if you're a MotoGP rider, what you want now are stable conditions. Are they going to get them?
Particularly if you're Jorge Martin and Pecco Bagnaia, who've got so much more to lose than the rest of this MotoGP grid. Just look at the anxious faces on the right-hand side of your picture there. Paul Trevathan to Pedro Acosta's right. Hervé Poncharal, team boss of Gas Tech 3. Paul Trevathan, Acosta's crew chief. Their hearts sank when the Shark crashed at turn 7 in the sprint yesterday. Surely we're not going to get another rain disruption. Of course, just a reminder, if you're new to MotoGP and you tuned in for the earlier Moto2 race when there was a rain disruption, the red flags came out. There is no stoppage rule in the MotoGP World Championship. It will be a flag-to-flag scenario. It was a flag-to-flag race here in Motegi 12 months ago, which was eventually curtailed. It was prematurely ended as the conditions really did deteriorate. It was Jorge Martin who was eventually confirmed as the race winner, and what was really a torrential rain. There is thick and heavy grey cloud cover here in Motegi. That has been the story really of most of the weekend so far. We've had rain on Friday, Saturday and Sunday so far. Let's hope the rain stays away and we get a full dry Japanese Grand Prix, which sees Maverick Vinales go from the front row of the grid for the first time since the Dutch TT in Assen. World champion Pecco Bagnaia launches away from second as he looks for a first Motegi MotoGP victory and looking for his first MotoGP victory of his Grand Prix career.